Hey everyone, my name is Parush, and in this new episode of the Long Live Cinema Show, I got the chance to speak to Shimona Bagdi, a production designer who takes care of world building in cinema. And in this podcast, we discussed in detail about what the job of a production designer is, how a production designer collaborates, especially with the cinematographer, in order to create the world that a story needs while making a film. We talked about so many tips and tricks that a production designer uses with the team of the makers in order to bring something to life, in order to bring an idea to life. It's a really fun conversation, and I'm so grateful to Shimona for doing this. This is going to be a very interesting conversation for you because I believe this is the very first time when we will understand what a production designer does in detail on a movie set, how a movie set is created. There are a lot of questions that I have tried to ask during this conversation, and I hope you have a great time. So, without any further delay, let's sit back, relax, and start the show. So, just to begin with, I would first like to ask you that is there anything that you want to talk about? Is there anything that you feel key with the help of this conversation we can, talk about something that's important, something that's connected with the. Matlab, of course, I'm not saying you to breach any contract or anything, but I'm just saying ki
No,
if
no,
there is
it's
a something, yeah,
uh,
anything in the production industry, anything related to your work that you feel needs to be talked about.
as a production designer, so I feel there is a lot of things that has to be called out in regards of production designing as a thing because I don't know how much people still understand about what production designing actually is, what it takes to be. I think I'm not saying all the departments are tough, but I genuinely feel that production and production designing are two departments which are recklessly working because whenever somebody has a off, we have a forward setup, and there is too many of nitty gritties which one has to go through. Like, and being a woman in this industry, still fighting for basic necessities like washrooms on a setup day when the director is or the DOP is not going to come, or to like fight that the crew gets fed well. Like these are little things which still are there. But like if you want to talk about a project, which was my first project as an assistant production designer, which was with Mr. Ram Bhagwani. It was Arya with Shushmita Sen. Anna I was the production designer in, and so I think that whole project is very close to my heart because that was the first time we actually shot 360-degree. So never in my life till now I have shot 360-degree. Like you deliver the set and you don't enter the set. It's ready. You can pan your camera anywhere. So there were no light stands. There were no artificial lighting. There were no skimmers. So it was one project in which the art and the camera team were such collaborative people. We did a uh, roof in which all the wirings were there. Like the gaffer was always with us. He used to come to us with the for the practical lighting shops, and he used to check, okay, what lights we should get, what kind of practical lights will come. It was a fantastic experience, and I think all the practical light knowledge which I've got is through that set because you enter the set and you can keep your camera and you can shoot, and it will be like some 25 minutes long takes or 35 minutes long takes, and in 3 takes you're done. Like every coverage, your mid, your close-ups, your whites, everything is covered. So I think that was a fantastic experience, and it was my first like long format in the industry ever, and to do so, and it was the first time the whole crew was going through this process. So I think it was really amazing. So on the project part, we can do that. And there's another project which I did independently, which is called Give Me Love. It's a music video. I don't know if you have seen it or
No, I have
not.
not seen it, but I know about this project. Yes.
Yeah, so we literally did like beg, borrow, and steal, and it's a beautiful project. Very heartwarming music video. I think it was my first gig as an independent production designer, and if you see the video, it's madness. It's madness. But how did it come together, and how many people helped us, and how did we crack? That's an amazing story. So maybe we can cover all these
Wonderful.
parts.
Wonderful. We will cover that. And by the way, I was actually going to ask you about Arya because, like I said, and like you also mentioned, Arya is like is not restricted to a single location. There are so many different locations happening in the in the
Yeah.
series. It's a very dynamic location kind of a story narrative. So I wanted to know about that. We'll come to that, but like you said, we'll first start with the fact that as per your IMDb page, you have worked as a production designer and a set dresser for some projects. So I would
Yeah.
like to first, love for you to elaborate on whether is there any difference between the two, if at all, and if not, then help us define, like you said, the task of a production designer. What actually it feels like to be a production designer.
So so there's a huge difference. Production designer is like an HOD. Like production designer is the one who is hired for the job, and she's going to make or he's going to build up the team. So under the production designer, there's another subtitle we get, which is art director. So art director is the person. Sometimes you have art director on set, sometimes you don't. Depends on the project and how the production designer wants to take it. Art director is basically the person who is taking care of all your construction. So if there is a set which is going to get built, so art director is going to help you to get all the mistries, carpenters, painters, electricians, everybody on board, get all the materials, do the drawings, and help you construct. Basically, is your architect. He or she is your architect on set. Then comes the set decorator. So set decorator is basically the the position basically does very very important role again. Set decorator is the someone who will decorate the whole set, like get all the props together. So in India, it doesn't work that way. But abroad, set decorator itself is an HOD situation. So you had like there's a production designer, there's an art director, and there's set deck. So the set deck will get the brief from the director or associate director or whosoever, and she's the person who is going to ideate the look and feel of the whole location. For example, if it's a house, so how the house is going to look like, what are the chandeliers, what are the tiles, what are the color of the walls, what should be the dressing of the dressing table, should it be, so all those things, like all those little knickknacks which we sometimes see, which we sometimes mix, comes under the set decorator role. Then to help set decorators, you have set dressers. So basically, that's how the team gets formed. So set dressers are basically who are taking all the notes down, aligning all the imaginations, and then helping all the way possible to run around, to source for things, to get things, to coordinate everything. That is, this pickup has been done, all the bookings which needs to get done, and then you have interns, and then you have graphic designers. Graphic designers also have very very important role of a production designer, where graphics is where, because wherever you go, if you are especially shooting in a live location, or for example you are making Bombay look like Bhopal or anywhere, so signages and everything is something which helps you, right? So graphic designer takes care from the design to the end to the print, like they will do the sampling for you, all those things. So that's how a team gets formed of art department.
Right, right. I'm so sorry. I'm not ignoring you. I'm also taking some notes in the middle in case I
No, no,
miss
I'm
out on
sure.
something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No
So
worries at
great.
all.
But before we take a deep dive into this, you just mentioned two terms. One is skimmers and one is gaffer. So gaffer, I
Yeah.
have some idea कि कौन होता है, but I would like you to tell us कि what is the job of a gaffer and what is that skimmer which you mentioned कि you don't need
It's
skimmers. What is
a
that?
no, no. Skimmer is basically that white color cloth. I'm sure you must have seen in a lot of BTS photographs. It's on top to so if you're shooting outdoors, especially, and it's a very light dependent shoot, and you don't know how the sun is going to behave. So I think camera department take put skimmers to control the light so that our continuity of the light doesn't break. So it's like a thin white cloth which they put on the roof or ceiling or anywhere to control the light and take it in their hands, so that if sun decides to be gloomy, sunny, whatever, our continuity of the light doesn't get like
So basically
that's
harshness
it's a
को रोक रहा है
cloth.
वो.
Yeah, it's
हाँ.
a आई मीन दिस ऑल द टर्म्स व्हेन यू आर ऑन सेट, तो आप कभी कभी जाते हो तो आपको बोला जाता है अच्छा यहाँ पे स्किमर डाला जाएगा, आप भी सीखते जाते हैं जब क्योंकि जिस दिन आपकी सेटिंग होती है और अगर एक बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है तो एक दिन पहले प्री लाइट भी मोस्टली हो ही रही होती है. सो दिस टू टीम्स मोस्टली वर्क टुगेदर ऑन दोज डेज. तो दैट टाइम यू कम टू नो अरे अरे अभी आप हटिए हमारा स्किमर आ रहा है, अभी घोड़ा लगाना है. सो यू गेट टू नो ऑल दिस थिंग्स. So
Nice.
yeah, basically
So,
to control the light and the harshness of it, I think.
okay, okay. And who's the gaffer?
Gaffer is basically that brilliant guy who knows when the sun is going to come out and when the clouds are going to go. But Gaffer is also somebody who is like, so there is, I think, DOP, first AC, and Gaffer. So first AC and Gaffer works together. Gaffer is the one who controls the whole team of light dadas and like he knows where to put the light. Like if he has been briefed, I mean, a DOP might answer it better, but if he has given a brief, he सुबह का सीन है और ऐसी सनलाइट के शाफ्ट चाहिए, so the gaffer will understand the brief and he will do with the first TC, he will do the first round of lighting and then of course the DOP will come and do the tweaks. So he's the one who understands and makes things work. Matlab, he's the commander of the set with who is coordinating with everybody like the light dadas and everybody so that the DOP doesn't have to do all those things. So, and he understands what a cherry picker is, like all the different kind of gadgets कि इसको करने के लिए ये लगेगा, इतना तराफा बांधना पड़ेगा, all those things. So he's the technical guy who knows how to get things, and he also handles the production कि हमें we have to get this much lights and this many equipments and this cameras and whatever. So
Okay, okay, got it. So coming back to production design, so I would love to understand, like, what is your I would love to understand how do you begin with production design? What is that very first step that you take into consideration? Like, you have a new project on your lap. How do you begin with the production design? And you can be as elaborate as you can. मैं बिल्कुल बोर नहीं होने वाला हूँ एंड डोंट थिंक कि ऑडियंस बोर हो जाएगी बिकॉज आई नो एग्जैक्टली ये किसके पास जाने वाला है. सो डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. आई वुड लव फॉर यू टू बी एज डिस्क्रिप्टिव एज यू कैन विदाउट ऑफ कोर्स डेल्विंग टू मच इन्फॉर्मेशन. वो भी नहीं
no,
है बट या
so when you
या
read I think very important is to understand the script, and also I think the most beautiful sets come out either when you have no money or, but I should not say this, otherwise people anyway are not paying. But I'm just saying when all the people come together and they want to make something happen, I think the most beautiful sets come out when people are like, "Acha, ye hamare ghar par hai," something like that. When we all are making this, like when I did IFP, 50 hours challenge, I think we won third that year. Yeah, so we won the third prize, and that time also because you get like you just get the topic and everybody comes together and but so you read the script and you start jamming. I feel you should not rush to referencing the moment you finish reading something. You should just sit with the script, whether it's a 2 minute script or a three, like a 30 minute or a web series. I genuinely feel you should sit with the script. You should just let it digest. And then I think before referencing, because there is so much to reference, so much, everything is there, and now there's AI, you should jam with your team. And you should jam with the direction team and the director and DOP, and then jump to referencing. Because what happens a lot of time when we do jump to referencing, unconsciously I have an image and then I start making sets around that image, or that image becomes a center point. Oh, I've seen something like that. We can do something in that terms and we can change something. Nothing new. Somewhere your mind stops working. So I think, and talking to people about it. Like right now for Hotstar, I was doing a set and I couldn't find that one reference which I want to show the director. And it's like, what to do? And I couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, I will just go off to sleep and I will have a fresh morning and understand. I called my Nana. And I'm like, Nana, अपने घर की photo भेजना जरा. मुझे लगता है कुछ निकल के आएगा. And it just worked. And it worked brilliantly. So I think sometimes we should not rely on AIs and Pinterest and all the things which I've done in the films. And we should just sit, observe as much as we can, talk to people as much as we can, because it's very, very, very difficult to have that character in production designing. Best production designing is when you don't notice that the set has been created, right? Like it should feel like, oh, ये तो होगा ही, बस actors ने आके काम कर दिया है. But to create that, it's a maniac job and it's the most fun job. But you have to sit. Okay, sometimes we just sit on the set and we will just topple few things. कि हम हमारे घर में तो ऐसे डाल देते हैं ना, मतलब that detail just works out. When you want to do everything very perfect, you give away the organicness of it. So I feel talking to people and you won't believe what people have to say. Like हमारे घर में हम जब होता है तो बाहर एक like they put a black face. Like when I was in Lucknow, I used to get that black face everywhere, and I have never used it as an element. And I was like, it's such an interesting thing. And then each house I was designing, I was putting that little different colored black suns. कि हमें ये बचाता है. So everybody has their stories. Everybody, and it's maybe nobody will notice. Maybe it's just me, but again, it's the fun of it that you can have. Otherwise, it's set designing is not that complicated. The process and the logistics of it is complicated. So yeah, I think don't jump to referencing. Talk to people, sit with yourself, and everything you imagine is possible. And there is no right or wrong in production designing. There is nothing which is right or wrong. The bed could be high, the bed could be low, the bed could be in front of window, the bed could be anywhere in the life. There's nothing wrong or right. Just do what you want to do, but it should solve the whatever. Your script should be. It should not be like हाँ सिर्फ production designing दिख रही है और कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है. It should go with the script, but it should be fun. I feel you don't have to follow the norms. Uh, like the basic like the most basic thing is ki where will the sofa come in the living room? So your biggest furniture piece comes in front of TV. That's how we have followed it all our lives. But it's not necessary. You go to any bachelor pad, they put it where they have the wall to put it or where they have the space to put it. So, and the other problem in production designing is it's so difficult to show realism. It is so difficult. I cannot tell you. It's pain. Like you cannot show किसी ने थूका हुआ है. I am in Lucknow. I never I never thought in my dreams कि कोई रजनीगंधा या तंबाकू इस किस्म से कंज्यूम करता है. मैंने ये कभी नहीं देखा था. मैं सेट साफ करके निकलती हूँ और मैं पलटती हूँ और वहां पे वापस से रजनीगंधा के पैकेट्स होते हैं. फिर मैं निकलती हूँ. लाइक आई वाज लाइक आई एम टेलिंग टू माय डायरेक्टर कि हमें कर देना चाहिए एक दो वॉल जहाँ पे लिखा हो यहाँ थूकना मना है, एंड देन देयर आर ऑल द स्पिट्स देयर, बट यू जस्ट कैन नॉट डू इट. It's so difficult to show. Like if there is a lamp, you always have to hide the wire. You cannot show the, like it doesn't look pretty or it doesn't look aesthetic. So to show reality is very difficult, I feel. So that's also one thing which is a process to crack. Ki how real you can make your sets look like. Like it's very difficult. So that's something, I think that's another situation which everybody deals with. And because like if you and me are talking, there could be things like that, but when you're seeing it on screen, and if there is something which is left on the table, people will always think that this is something which is being done intentionally. तो उसको जस्टिफाई करने एक अलग प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. तो वो एक अलग किस मतलब, like I was shooting for an ad and we were putting rucksacks, like how old people और लोग रखते हैं गीला करके बोरी रख देते हैं ताकि ठंडक रहे. But when the camera came up in the frame, it was not looking nice. And it was like, again, it's so difficult to show reality. You again have to make that bamboo canopies with pretty looking sari flowing, which everybody doesn't do. People do what they have. They have newspaper, they have boris, they have tarpatris. But again, so between aesthetic and showing realism, I think that's another battle which is a ongoing battle and which will always be there. How to crack it and how to get real elements more and more and more in your sets.
So, but let's say once you are you have cracked the production design for whatever project you are working on. So how do you move ahead after that? Like you go for you go and check with
So
the director कि
once we
budget
get
कैसा है?
the मतलब budget and ये तो ongoing process है, to be honest till the end, because अभी हमारे इंडस्ट्री में ये हो गया है कि हमने कुछ फोटोग्राफ्स भेज दी जाती है और बोला जाता है कि आप बजट दे दीजिए, बट जो बजट दिया जाता है उस पे काम, उसी बजट पे काम होना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, बिकॉज यू हैव नॉट सीन द लोकेशन. वंस यू रीच द लोकेशन, then actually you can tell what is going to be budget, because you see the location with naked eyes and you understand how much work this location needs according to your script. Do we need to do the flooring? Do we need to do the ceiling? Okay, ceiling is avoidable. Okay, flooring is in good situation, so we save money over there. We have to color. Do we have to color it back? So there are a lot of logistical issues which come into the picture, uh, and that then the budget. So, and in ads, yes, we discuss budgets and we discuss what is possible and not. But I think in long formats, it's important to discuss all the ideas and all the possibilities. And then we think, okay, we are going overboard, and it's maybe a half second shot. Maybe we can avoid and save here. And then we can put it maybe towards the climax or something which is more important. So once the script comes in, I think we do the jamming sessions, and then we start referencing, we start pulling out a deck, and when we start meeting the team, then we start deciding the first thing which has worked with me, and I think most of the people must be doing the same way, is deciding the color palette. So the costume designer also gets involved. What is the skin color of the actors we are working with? Because that's also very important. Which color is going to look better on them? Which color is going to complement their skin color? Because if somebody is little dusky, so the lighting will happen accordingly. अब एक लाइटिंग अकॉर्डिंगली हुई है, और हो सकता है कि उस लाइटिंग के हिसाब से वॉल कलर बहुत ही गंदा दिखे. So then all the teams will sit together to understand what color palette should be followed. So we make everything look beautiful and organic. So if I'm wearing green and the walls are also in the same green, then sometimes it works, but then the character might merge. So we don't want that camouflage situation to happen. So everything is has to be pre-decided a little. So then costume designer will make a deck, we will make a deck, and if because if it's a long format, especially there are multiple locations which gets involved. So every location has different color palette, every location has a different look and feel. So then we divide our scripts and our decks location wise or setup wise. And similarly, the costume designer will do it, the DOP will do it, and then we all will sit. Okay, this is where we are overlapping. I think this is complementing. Okay, you should change this. Oh, I have sources. Okay, I will change this. So like something is key prop which has been sourced and discussed and has been, so now the others have to evolve, like revolve around it. But sometimes we get stuck and we have to change it कि अब ये तो नहीं बदल सकता. So all those little things starts happening, and once we lock the color palette, then we start talking about the action props and how the look and feel of the homes are going to be. uh, because if, for example, you Arya's handbag, which became a sensation when she was using it. So costume department has like put real minds into it that okay, how is it going to look? And then when Aru's room comes into picture, so our production designer Anna, like she really thought ki what is the font in which the poetry is going to be there, how what kind of strokes are going to be there which can reflect her anger. So all those nitty gritty starts coming in, that it's a uh, like there is a wedding but this is going to happen. So we always think कि क्या होने वाला है, हमें तो पता है ना, तो हमें उस हिसाब से तैयारी भी रखनी है कि अगर हमने अभी ये कलर पैलेट दे दिया फिर इनके घर में दुख आ जाएगा, तो हमारा सोफा तो बहुत ब्राइट लगेगा, तो हमें पहले से ही सटल चलना चाहिए. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स, सोफा तो नहीं बदल सकता है किसी की डेथ हो गई है तो. सो दिस आर लाइक रियली स्मॉल थिंग्स, बट yeah. And then we start picking out the furniture pieces, the shape of it, the look of it. Should we go in straight line? Should we go boho? Should we go Scandinavian? So then all those other detailing of the things starts happening. What should be the fabric, textures, colors of the fabrics? what would be the curtains. Curtains play a very, very important role, especially because again, that's the only light source DOPs have. So it has, like, every curtain has to get approved by DOPs because
Oh, okay.
it's a light source, correct? But the windows are ultimately your light source. So it has to be sure, it has to be of a specific color, correct? See?
यार मैं
So
आज ही चेंज कर रहा हूँ ये सही नहीं बट यस प्लीज सॉरी यू कंटिन्यू या
So this has, like, you have to tell them what kind of shades will work. Like if a practical lamp or has a, say, cream, and if you put a warm white bulb in it, but the color which will come out is going to be completely different. So if I
yeah
put a
yeah yeah
curtain which is little pinkish, and if he
yeah
puts the light, then the color is going
हाँ
to change. So the color of
हाँ
the curtains, the
right
fabric, the sheerness of it, the thickness of it, everything become very different. Like, so it's a process then. Then you get into it, you start sampling, you start collecting the samples, you show it, then you get it approved. So then the whole madness of the world starts. But I think color palette and working closely with the costume designers and the costume team and the DOP team really, really helps. And then everybody is at the same page. Then on the day of the shoot, we are not panicking ki we have not seen this and she might be wearing this color and we have this color, and then there's no panic situation happening. So everything is on a deck, everything has been pre-decided and everything has been pre-thought about. And it depends a lot on the, like, if the girl has the curly hair, what will suit her better. Like, it's so many things you think about. If the eyes are blue, then we should not give her anything which, like, something else which is blue, otherwise the attraction of her eyes will go away. So very, very small things, but all these small things come together and then it's part
right
of the bigger sense.
yes absolutely god damn DOPs approve curtains this is the very first time I'm hearing this
What are
wow
you saying? Like, I have
नहीं
had
नहीं मैंने
legit.
आज यार मैं यार यू आर समवन हु वर्क्स देयर
नहीं
हमें
नहीं
क्या है
ऐसे.
we just yap about stuff and you know on Instagram and YouTube but you guys are doing that thing
Yeah,
so
no.
yeah
DOPs gets involved pretty much in everything. In, like, costume, they decide, like, they have the power to decide the final costumes, the final wall colors, the final curtains and shows. Curtains specifically, rest of the things I can still manage, but curtains, costumes, and I think wall colors we don't do, and flooring, we, like, it has to get approved because also they have the sense of post production. They are going to sit on the grades. So they understand that right now, if I'm showing this green, which is looking lovely by naked eyes, by the time it comes, it might look black. So they will tell me, no, go 20% down because when we do it on the grade, you will achieve this color what you're seeing right now. So, like we production designers usually like take a small piece of ply and put a lot of colors on it and mark 1, 2, 3, like sample and send it to them or show it to them on the walls so that they can see it in sunlight and they understand because they have to they sit on the grading eventually and they know how the post is going to work, how the lightings are going to work. So, and when they will light the set, all the colors will change. Like what you see without lighting and when you see with lighting, everything is changed. So
right
yeah,
wow
it's yeah, it's not rocket science, but it's fun.
no I mean it's definitely not rocket science but still most importantly it requires a
I'm sorry,
presence
I'm
of
losing
mind
you. I can't hear you.
can you
Yeah,
hear me now
a
is it better
presence of mind. Yeah, I agree. Yes, 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 yes.
that is there
So this whole
just
process, I think, is more fun. Yeah, I can hear you now.
that is there हाँ नहीं वो थोड़ा सा लैग हो रहा था ना सो दिस इज व्हाट
Huh.
हैपेंस व्हेन यू डू थिंग्स ऑनलाइन सो या आई एम रियली सॉरी फॉर दैट बट एनीवे सो God, you have already given me so much. I'm not thinking what more.
No, no,
So
relax.
no, no, but yeah, it's definitely like you said. These small details, all of them come together to create the larger picture, and then, like you said, if one thing gets wrong, the entirety of it might get wrong, and the people might not notice it, but you guys are putting you guys are showing watching everything from the naked eye कि यार ये थोड़ा सा भी अगर इधर उधर हो गया ना तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगी. So this थोड़ा सा भी इधर उधर हो गया वाली insight, of course it's not with the audience, but the fact is that you guys are putting that much of effort so that it becomes invisible, like you said, कि
Yeah.
it should become very realistic, it should also become authentic. कि अगर आप कहीं राजस्थान या कहीं कहीं का भी दिखा रहे हो तो उस जगह की जो ऑथेंटिसिटी है वो भी उसके साथ थोड़ी सी कन्वे होनी चाहिए. सो दैट इज
Yeah.
ऑल देयर. आई मीन आई या
And the advertisements and everything has filled ourselves with so much. Like if we get a brief कि गरीब घर दिखाना है, ओके, तो आपके दिमाग में इमीडिएटली आएगा कि आपको यू हैव टू, लाइक यू नो, देयर हैज टू बी अ लालटेन, देयर हैज टू बी सम बोरीज, देयर हैज टू बी वन साड़ी जिसका कप मतलब ऐसे पर्दा टंगा हुआ है, मतलब एक तोरण होगा, मतलब आप ऐसे, क्योंकि आप बचपन से वो देख कर आ रहे हो. टू ब्रेक दैट मोल्ड इट इज सो डिफिकल्ट. राइट नाउ आई हैव बीन टू माई हाउस हेल्प्स होम and it is beautiful. I cannot even tell you. She has put fabrics on her sofa. There's a little carpet thing she has done, and it's beautiful. And because things have changed, but if like if we show it now on screen, people just won't relate. To make the story relatable, there are few obvious things which you have to keep doing. So to break out of that also, to come out of that box also, it's going to take us a little time. Matlab, you can be innovative with the idea of how we are acting, like how everybody, like हमारा अकबर एंथनी वाला सीन बहुत ही नॉनसेंसिकल है ना, तीन लोग खून दे रहे हैं और वो माँ के पास जा रहे हैं, बट इट बिकेम अ फनी थिंग. बट व्हेन यू डू इट ऑन सेट्स, पीपल विल टेल अरे ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है. मतलब आप स्टोरी के साथ खेल सकते हो, आप कैरेक्टर्स को वैसा बता सकते हो, बट आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हो कि आपने एक खिड़की दरवाजे की साइज की बना दी और दरवाजा खिड़की के साइज का बना दिया, जो कि क्यों नहीं हो सकता. आप एलिस इन वंडरलैंड, बट एवरीबॉडी विल लाइक अरे ये तो अलग घर हो गया है. So yeah, there is, and there are limitations which I understand. Otherwise, people will only be seeing this and not the story, and it will take away the whole. मतलब जो हमारा जिस्ट है कि हमें स्टोरी बेचनी है वो तो निकल ही जाएगा. बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट लिटिल न्यूआंसेस की गरीब घर जिस तरीके से इमेजिन किया जाता है वो आज भी वैसे ही इमेजिन किया जा रहा है. या एक अमीर लड़की के पास ये सारी चीजें तो होगी कि गुच्ची और प्राडा का बैग दिखा रहा है, तो वो कुछ चीजें हैं जो वैसी ही है. सो ठीक है, मतलब but everybody's trying new, and I think it's an exciting world to be in right now because you've got so many mediums you cannot imagine. You have so many mediums to play with. You have Flex in which you can print wallpapers and put. You have thermocols in which you can do molding. You have, like, everything has an alternative option. So yeah, I mean, it's not the eco-friendly options, but yeah.
We were talking about contrast, so you were explaining me everything about contrast, how you guys
Yes.
use contrast in your production and what role it plays.
So contrast, ये ना मतलब हम लोग, contrast is basically what colors, किसी colors का saturation कम है, brightness ज़्यादा है, like it's same color of different levels of those colors. So contrast is important because, like, if it's a black background and the text is also written in black, of course the readability of it is gone. So to make it readable or to make it stand out, contrast is important. Otherwise, if everything is, like, of course, if that's the nature of the project, that everything has to camouflage, like how a lot of projects we have seen these days in which camouflage
Shimona,
is
can
a
you
thing.
keep your phone steady a little bit on a surface, maybe? If
Yeah.
that's possible.
I'm just worried that if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you. You are perfectly
Yeah.
audible. Yeah.
So, if contrast is needed, people are sometimes dressed as the wallpaper and then they emerge out. So, if that's necessary for the nature of the project, of course. But mostly, contrast is very important. Otherwise, your subject will not stand out. The thing which is going to emote the emotions or going to speak is not going to stand out. That's why, like, whenever we are doing music video, all the background artists will be into the same color, but the actors will be wearing something which is in a completely different tone, which will be brighter, or because they have to stand out. It's about them, it's about their story. So that's why contrast plays a very, very important role in all of our lives. Not only in cinema, I feel in everything we do. Like even if you're posting on Instagram, I'm sure you're using fonts, you're using colors which will attract people. So every time we are thinking about something, every app, every logo which is getting designed, everywhere this is because when you're designing a logo, for a logo designer, it is very important that there are few things which he knows that the logo is going to appear at, which is your mobile screen, some hoardings, your app store. So he knows कि अच्छा ये तो होने ही वाला है तो उसके हिसाब से I should play. तो वो बैकग्राउंड यू विल नेवर सी कि बैकग्राउंड और जो टेक्स्ट है वो सेम कलर का है तो that's why everything is in contrast. If your heroine is in one costume, the hero probably is going to be into something else because the heroine, if it's the scene about her and if it's her introduction scene or something, she has to look the glam or whatever she has to look like. But the attention will be on her. Even if we are showing कि वो बहुत ही small town है या फिर she is one of the भीड़ का हिस्सा, but still it's a thought which has been given which has a contrast from the surroundings so that she stands out. So it's the same color, but how much percentage of which color are you using where? What is the saturation? What is the brightness? And how are you merging all the colors together? I think it's the game of that. And yeah, so because colors can make a film quirky, colors are emotions basically. So if it's a sad scene, you will automatically go towards blacks, grays, whites, beiges. If it's a quirky scene, you will automatically go towards the greens and burnt oranges and all those things. So
That is there, right? And can you give me a couple of examples where you found the contrast like brilliantly used, which you still remember?
Super Deluxe, I think that film and the contrast in that film, I think it's unmatchable. I don't know what they were high on and what they were smoking. I think it's fantastic. If anybody has not watched Super Deluxe, please go and watch it right now, guys. Not only for production designing, for story, for the language, for the camera movements, for everything, but for production designing, I think it's one of the most brilliant films I've ever seen or come across. It's beautiful. All the wall colors, all the textures, their handbags, their costume colors, their makeup, even that fucking police station, everything is just gorgeously thought and done. It's beautiful.
Right, right. And I'm sure you must be into Wes Anderson cinema as well because he's known
Yeah.
for contrasts.
I mean, it's a language which everybody wants to follow, and he's also a symmetric. He's a lover of symmetry, no
Yeah.
matter how much. And now in our cinema language, also, I think symmetry either it's symmetry or asymmetrical. Like,
But there is one example of a music video that I would like to share, and I would love for you to watch that music video, especially for the contrast. Now, it must be done like, of course, you have way more experience and knowledge than me, of course, but for someone like me who noticed that use of contrast for the very first time, I was blown because it looked damn beautiful. So there is this film of Thalapathy Vijay called Varisa, and that film has a
I haven't
song
watched it,
called
but I've
that's
heard.
okay, that's okay, that's okay. But there is a song called Jimiki Ponnu. It's a song made by Anirudh Ravichandar. Watch that song, and I don't have to tell you कहाँ पे contrast use हुआ है. You will instantly notice it, and it's so well done. उन्होंने literally gold और green को mix किया है. That's it. But that is the best, one of the best use of contrast that I've ever seen. It just serves the purpose, and it does everything. In fact, I was about to ask you and about to share that there are so many films and so many songs coming from the southern part of our country. I've not seen a lot of Kannada, but Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam.
Tamil, Telugu,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
always, like, but that's also because their culture has been rich in contrast. Like, if you go to that city, if you visit their temples, if you see the carvings they have done, it's all about that. If you go to any random house and see the paintings, the saris they are wearing, the borders which are woven, the blouse and the saris contrast, the chappal and the bindi, the gajras. It's, I mean, they are beautiful. They
Right,
are
right,
beautiful,
right.
and they are also the people who loves experimenting, and they don't care. They don't care about anything else. Like they want to, they have an idea and they do it. Like the action they do, the horror they do, the drama they do. I think we are just copying it eventually. So they are doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. No, but they have come a long way. And uh, what was that moment for you? This is a slightly different question when it comes to the topic that we are talking about. What was that moment for you on set when you felt like, yes, I am doing something meaningful in my life and there is no going back? Because again, production design is something very specific. क्योंकि जब आप, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, and I may be completely wrong, जब आप किसी को बताते हो कि मैं प्रोडक्शन डिज़ाइनर हूँ, यू नो, यू फील अच्छा आप पिक्चर में काम करते हो, बट नो, दैट्स ओके, यस मैं पिक्चर में काम करती हूँ,
Yeah,
बट
yeah.
it's a whole different game altogether. So what was, do you have any of those moments where you were on set and you feel like कि यार this is something that gives me joy, और वो जो रात में नींद वाली जो बात है?
See, to be really honest about it, um, I love my job and I love everything about it. But that moment that this is that thing which I want to keep doing is still a feeling I'm fighting for because of a lot of other reasons. Uh, maybe if I was born few later, अभी नहीं, और इस पहले के जमाने में maybe things would have been different. But अभी ना इतना social awareness के बाद, I mean, when COVID hit and we were not doing, the world didn't stop, right? And I cannot tell you how much of pollution we create. I mean, when you make a set for like 3 days, 4 days, week, months, and then you see it getting broken in like few minutes, hours, or days, it's a heartbreaking feeling. And then you see at all the dump you have created. For other people, I'm sure it must be different. I love this profession, but I'm also working in this profession to evolve ways in which we can make it a little more eco-friendly, little more sustainable, little more like if we can do something about it. I don't know what, and that's a constant thought which still doesn't let me sleep at night. And because when you stand there, it's it's not a. I mean, I don't feel that great when I see that we have wasted so many of resources, especially when you are doing a food film. You cannot imagine the amount of food we waste. Like when you like it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking when you know what's happening in the world. I'm sorry, this is not the answer you must have expected,
No,
but whenever
that's
I'm
no, no, no. That's
standing
absolutely
on
fine.
the set, till now, I've not felt very great about it, and I have questioned myself, is it this important? Cannot we do it in any other way? But then the timelines, the budgets, and all the other things and other factors come into picture, and we do what we do. So yeah, the I mean, it's a great feeling because you can create anything out of nothing. It's a blank canvas and you can absolutely build your imagination on it. So in that way, it's the craziest feeling to have and the powers in your hand that you can actually do anything and build up anything. But on the contrary, the pros and the cons, it's yeah. एंड आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट अस हु इज क्रिएटिंग दैट वर्ड ना, कैमरा आते हैं, लाइट्स आती है, वो रीयूज हो जाती है, हम ही है जो मतलब इतना करके फिर निकल जाते हैं. तो and it's for like 30 seconds of ad, like I have almost completed a web series in the same amount of budget in which I complete a 30-second ad. Imagine the contrast in the monies.
Ex- Execution, yeah, exactly.
लाइक हम 30 सेकेंड्स के लिए आए चार्ज, मतलब वी यूज टू स्पेंड दिस मच फॉर आर्ट, जिसमें हमने पूरा एक
Yeah.
वेब सीरीज निपटा लिया. तो इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम आई फील. सो दैट फीलिंग कि ओके आई एम हियर एंड आई एम डूइंग समथिंग राइट, आई मीन आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल फॉर व्हाट आई एम डूइंग, बट I'm not crashed that particular feeling. I have to do more for this industry and especially in production designing to make it a little more sustainable to have that feeling in life.
Yeah,
As I
I get it. I get it. I get it. Uh, but if there is a set which has been broken now and you want to recreate it, which
Yeah,
is that going to be for you?
Give
Do
Me
you have
Love.
any?
The music
Give me
video
love.
which I did, I
Acha.
think one of the most memorable sets, and the team, it's the dream team. And it's one of those where all the people come together and we jam. There is no client, there is no agency, there is nobody looking at us. And you throw ideas and you pick up the ideas and you do it and you make it happen. And everybody just works towards to make it happen. मतलब बस करना है तो करना है. आपको ये नहीं सोचना है कि आपको इस कलर का अप्रूवल इस क्लाइंट से लेना है, इसको एजेंसी से अप्रूव करवाना है, ये नहीं वर्कआउट हो रहा है. इट्स द मोस्ट फ्री फ्लोइंग लिबर्टी वाला जो होता है ना कि some creatives have come together and they want to make something.
What I wanted to ask you is about the optimization of resources, or when it comes to making smart choices, especially in production design. Like, for example, there is a prop or a setup that is required, which is expensive. It is not something that is following the budgets of the project. So, how do you circumvent, or how do you find proxies, or are there any instances where you had to settle for like a second best option in a production design and it turned out to be even better than the primary choice?
A lot of times, but proxies are always like, मतलब ना, आपके पास कभी उतना बजट होता नहीं जितना आपको, मतलब जितना आपका ग्रैंड विजन होता है. दैट्स नेवर द केस. वी ऑलवेज सेटल फॉर प्रॉक्सीज. But because we have so many different mediums to work with right now, for
Right.
example, we have laser cuttings, we have 3D modeling. If there is something which is absolutely needed and we are not able to find it, or it's out of budget, the original one, so we can have a, like, we can sketch it out and we can do a 3D modeling of it, and it actually works out. Like, we have made so many different kind of boxes and a lot of different kind of things using 3D printing. So it actually gives you a great product which on camera looks exactly the same. Like, of course, you cannot afford the real Gucci's and Pradas a lot of times, so you print out the same material on the same things, or you do the stickerings of things, or like a very funny thing we did, and this is one of my prop boys recently did. So we had a shadi ka setup. So you know this decorative dahlias in which all the fruits and the gifts and dry fruits comes and people give it. So we wanted that, and we were in a very remote area of Lucknow shooting, and we were not able to find it, and I didn't have the time.
Can you tell me about that area? Because again, Lucknow, I'm
Uh, Bholi village.
okay.
We were shooting in Bholi village, and it's a very small, and वहां से पहले आप लखनऊ आओगे और फिर लखनऊ में आप अमीनाबाद या उधर निकलोगे चौक की तरफ, तो it takes time and we didn't have that much time. So we had some fabrics and we had some net. So we just purchased a normal fruit basket. We pasted those fabrics on it and we pasted the net with a string on it, and it just worked the same. And I also couldn't make out that, and it worked out the same for us. And that basket would like cost us what? That basket cost us some 200 rupees or whatever. This basket has costed us 20 rupees, in which we had, but again, this just जुगाड़ जो होता है ना वो बेस्ट होता है. अगर आपने गिव मी लव देखा होगा तो उसमें हमने 500 कार्टन बॉक्सेस यूज करे. So now to get 500 carton boxes of different sizes, we didn't have the money. So every night, me and my friends and the other team members will take out cars and rickshaws and everything. We will start picking up the carton boxes from the roads. We will go to medical stores. We will say कि आपका आज का जो carton box है रद्दी आप हमें दे दीजिए. We will go to D Mart. We will go to V Mart, and we will collect all those things and we build it up. So, like, if you don't have anything, you have alternative. Maybe you can use thermocol. If you have vinyls to cover up your wooden, like you don't have time or budget to do wooden polish, कि सूख नहीं पाएगा, हो नहीं पाएगा, तो आपके पास विनाइल्स आ चुके हैं. तो ऐसे क्रेजी चीजें, समटाइम्स वी हैव हैड like a real human stand and made pyramids over them and let it dry, and then फिर उसको नीचे से निकाल के उस स्ट्रक्चर को खड़ा करके रखते हैं. तो ऐसे सारी क्रेजी चीजें, like, you find gold when you are sitting at a raddiwala, and you cannot imagine the props you will take out and you will just make something out of it. And आई थिंक दैट्स द मोस्ट फन पार्ट अबाउट अ जॉब. मतलब बेसिक तो होना ही है, बट ये जो nitty-gritties है ना, आई थिंक दैट्स द like there's one ad I did for Urban Clap right now in which we had to make a miniature model. She was a magician, और वो जो हमारी प्रोटैगनिस्ट लीड थी उन्हीं का हम एक छोटा सा मॉडल वर्जन बनाना था. And we tried everything and we couldn't achieve it. We took a Barbie doll, we did everything. Then we got a 3D printout done. Then we got a carver who used to carve on clays from JJ College. We contacted JJ College. That guy came. He came with some little tools of clay and little clay, and he made it. And he put some hair on it. उसने दो चार बारबी डॉल्स खरीदी, उसकी विग निकाली, इसकी लगाई, अपने पेंसिल से कर्ल कर लिया, and it happened. So आर्ट डिपार्टमेंट का जो वो सेटिंग डे होता है ना, वो सबसे ज्यादा जुगाड़ू दिन होता है. आपके पास पिलो कवर्स नहीं, आप बबल रैप डाल देते हो. किसको पता है कि पिलो कवर के अंदर क्या है? पिलो कवर के अंदर बबल रैप से यू आर सिटिंग, यू डोंट नो व्हाट इज इनसाइड दिस, राइट? इसके अंदर कुछ भी हो सकता है. Like we have joined curtains and we have made bed sheets. We have taken out laces and made frill. मतलब कुछ भी हो सकता है. So yeah, it's the most fun department in that sense.
Right. I'm guessing that whenever someone comes to you for suggestions कि यार मुझे अपना घर का इंटीरियर डेकोरेशन करना है, so you always have the best ideas. यार ये नहीं है तो ये कर ले.
इसलिए हम बोलते हैं कि प्रोडक्शन डिजाइनर्स और इंटीरियर डेकोरेटर्स वो अलग. हम जुगाड़ू काम करके दे सकते हैं. परमानेंट काम होगा कि नहीं हमें पता नहीं. जुगाड़ू जरूर हो जाएगा कि आपका सेट बढ़िया तरीके से दिखे और आपकी शूटिंग खत्म हो जाए. बट या सो अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स लाइक दैट. I was shooting with Hungry Films and they wanted this monkey who claps like this. So this old toy, वो monkey बैठा होता था, उसके हाथ में दो plates होती थी and they used to clap. So and I couldn't find it anywhere. So they bought वो kitchen set की दो छोटी plates. They did the mechanism. Then we added two tangus and then we made the contraption and हो गया. मतलब in the end हो ही जाता है हर चीज. तो yeah, like you spray paint the, like don't have budgets to buy sunflowers sometimes. Imagine, so you take a flower which is closer to sunflower, you spray paint it to the yellows and you use it. So yeah, you don't have budgets to buy grasses, so we buy lemongrass which is the cheapest and we just put it and then we do मतलब मजा आता है. It's fun.
राइट. मतलब जब तक वही है ना, जब तक रियलिस्टिक लगे, जब तक जितना क्लोज हम जा सकें ऑथेंटिसिटी के, रियलिज्म के, उतना अच्छा है.
हाँ, और जुगाड़ से आप जितना कर सके. अभी हमारे पास था, देयर वाज द सीन इन व्हिच द एक्टर हैड टू थ्रो द फोन एंड ही वाज यूजिंग एन आईफोन एंड ऑफ कोर्स रियल आईफोन, और हमारे पास डमी आईफोन था नहीं. तो हमने एक ब्लैक चार्ट पेपर की शीट काटी, उसके ऊपर हमने दो राउंड्स काटे फ्रॉम अ प्लास्टिक बॉटल. We put the black rings, we painted the rings and we put a cover on it and आगे हमने foam लगा दिया. In the film, if you can tell me that it's a dummy phone which is made out of this jugaad, I will change my name. You see the web series to find that shot, you won't be able to do it.
What is the name of the series?
We are still deciding it. It's still under progress. So once it's out, I will text you. And if you find out कि ये वाला जो phone का shot ये dummy है, I will change my name. But it worked. In the camera, it's looking as real.
वाओ, क्या बात है. Such ingenious methodologies to.
Yeah, again, like if you have to, like if there's a scene in which मतलब शमशान का scene और आपको किसी को you have to do the last rituals and you don't have that much of लकड़ी, so we put like simple tables and we just put लकड़ी on it. तो हमें सिर्फ ऊपर की और आजू बाजू छुपाने की लकड़ी चाहिए और आपका काम हो जाता है. तो I'm just saying these are the tricks and it just works. Like this time only in hostel shoot because we were in Lucknow and all are Nawabi people, they are not going to wake up before 10. If I tell them 5 changes and they will, एक काम करिए मैडम आप कहीं और से करवा लीजिए, हमसे ना हो पाएगा. So I wanted this vinyl stickerings for my police cars and I couldn't get the printouts. तो हमने रेड और ब्लू टेप खरीदी है और हमने रेड और ब्लू टेप से कर दिया and it has passed off as police cars. I'm just saying that there are so many jugaads like this that people will never come to know about it.
In your career so far, when it comes to being a production designer, which you have been for such a long time, what has been the biggest challenge for you? What are you like? What was actually that one point where you became absolutely clueless कि यार अब क्या करूँ आगे?
Mm, ऐसे clueless तो I won't say कि अब क्या करूँ वाली situation occurs when you have a solid team backing you. But as a production designer, there are still a lot of challenges I'm sure whosoever is in this field is going through. Yeah. If it's a female production designer, like I have been on sets, because BB, 80 to 90% of your crew, which involves your mistries and carpenters and painters and electricians and molders and all they are men. So a lot of time I still have to fight. A lot of time, क्या मतलब 85% there is still a fight that can you please provide us with a neat washroom? They will ask some कि ये बाजू वाले restaurant में use कर लेना, but we need a washroom. We need that 5 minutes. A woman has to do a lot of things when she's in a washroom. She's going through a period, and there are so many other things. So yeah, like, and I think the most challenging challenge is to make people understand the logistics that why we are asking, what we are asking, and to explain it again and again. मतलब वो बहुत there are people who understand it, but there are a lot of people who still don't get it. So a lot of time the producers have answered, called me and said कि हमें सारे budgets we have cracked, but we have not able to crack the art department or art का budget yet. We still उसमें गुथी हो जाती है. आई थिंक उसका रीजन ये है कि बहुत ज्यादा लॉजिस्टिकली चैलेंज्ड डिपार्टमेंट है ये. कि अगर आपने एक चौल में लोकेशन देख लिया, अब चौल में आपका टेम्पो ही जा सकता है, तो देन इट बिकम्स लेबर इंटेंसिव. देर आर सो मेनी प्लेसेस वेर यूर शूटिंग ऑन 10th floor say, and there is no lift, or maybe there's no service lift in which your furniture pieces or your props or your ply putties and paints are not allowed or cannot go. Then the neighbors have to climb 10 floors to reach there. So now they're like, why are you asking for extra day? अरे आधे दिन में तो आपका सामान ही ऊपर पहुंच रहा है, अनलोडिंग हो रही है, सेटअप कब शुरू होगा? So लॉजिस्टिकली एंड इट्स स्टिल दैट डिपार्टमेंट कि सुबह काम करो, शूट करो और रात में डिसमेंटल कर दो. लाइक स्टिल वी आर एट दैट पॉइंट कि हम 24 hours काम कर रहे होते हैं. मतलब अभी भी द शूट्स विच आई एम गोइंग टू डू ऑन 17, वही स्टोरी है कि सेटअप का टाइम नहीं है, क्योंकि आप लोकेशन का कॉस्ट बचा रहे हो. तो आप जो कि बंदा सुबह से काम करने वाला होगा, उसके पहले 5-6 दिन से लगा हुआ है, वो रात भर जग के काम करेगा और नेक्स्ट डे तो उसको काम करना ही है, क्योंकि उसको वापस जाके वो जो प्रॉप्स आए हैं उसको अपनी अपनी जगह पे पहुंचाना है, क्योंकि रेंट बढ़ जाएगा. तो आई थिंक सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम अभी भी लॉजिस्टिक इश्यूज को क्रैक करने में है कि ये क्यों चाहिए, ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. If there is paint, it has to get repainted. Now, if we are shooting in rainy season and this time it has rained a lot, the paint doesn't dry quickly. Now, to explain it, I don't know how to explain it. बारिश हो रही है, प्लेन नहीं सूखेगा, अब मैं उसको और कैसे समझाऊं? नहीं sir, I have to use that soft language. But you understand, it's raining so hard. It won't be like we won't be able to dry it so quickly. So maybe we go towards a lighter shade which dries up quickly, because darker shade needs 2-3 coats. तो वो सारी चीजों की जो लॉजिस्टिक्स है, और बॉम्बे और आर्ट डिपार्ट एनी डिपार्टमेंट फॉर दैट मैटर, इन बॉम्बे इट इज पॉसिबल कि आप रात भर में चीजें प्रोक्योर कर सकते हो, क्योंकि चीजें खुली रहती है, आपके इतने कॉन्टैक्ट्स बन चुके हैं. या दिस इज एक्चुअली अ सिटी विच नेवर स्लीप्स. But when you are not in Bombay, then this all adds up to a lot of other issues in life. Your city, not your city, but like Lucknow, such a Nawabi city, I must say, loved it.
I can sense the sarcasm, but I would love for you to elaborate.
No, I mean, I'm telling you to ask them to wake up at 6 o'clock. They will have a face which will say, "अरे ये क्या पूछ लिया क्या है हमसे? ये कैसे होगा अब?"
So apart from Bombay, which has like what is that city where you have been the most comfortable in terms of shooting and production design?
Nobody can beat Bombay. But Delhi has come very close because Delhi में भी अब बहुत shoots हो रहे हैं, so the culture has become uh, almost like people know there's a team which is getting assembled. So Delhi is becoming very close to the professionalism which are it's almost like army discipline, right? If it's a 6 o'clock thing, you have to reach on set at 5 o'clock. You cannot be late. It's almost like an army disciplinary sets we follow. And if we don't do it, not everything is going to go for a toss. We will go overtime. The shoot is not going to get wrapped on time. Then the things which have been after that उसके बाद जो भी हमने करा हुआ है वो मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें और स्पेशली जब मल्टी स्टारर होता है कि this star will come at 2 o'clock, this has to leave at 1 o'clock, and then everything starts late, then you have to communicate at so many levels. So yeah. So, but again, to answer your question, it's the logistic parts of it. Like even if you're in Bombay or even if I was in Lucknow, uh, after 9, you're not allowed to take the tempos, the big ones, the uh, I don't know what they had. The bigger ones. So I had to deal with the smaller tempos. Now the smaller tempos, of course, एक बड़ा आएगा तो उसके अगेंस्ट में तीन छोटे आएंगे. तीन छोटे क्यों आ रहे हैं? अब बड़ा अलाउड ही नहीं है ना. फिर प्रोडक्शन बोलता है अरे घुसा लो फिर चालान हो गया. अब चालान 20,000 का आया. ये चालान क्यों हुआ? अरे so like now it's not allowed in the city. What should I do?
How do you like? I want to go back to the time when you got started as a production designer. First of all, how did you get started as a production designer? And right now, do you find it easy to explain to someone कि मैं production designer हूँ? Do you face any kind of criticism or kind of a questioning कि wait, production design ये तो बहुत ही niche काम है, तुमने कुछ और क्यों नहीं किया?
क्रिटिसिज्म तो नहीं मतलब माय पेरेंट्स हैव ऑलवेज बीन सपोर्टिंग दे आर जस्ट लाइक कि अरे लड़की हीरोइन बन जाती फेमस हो जाती बस वो वाला बट ऑल इन गुड फेथ इन गुड ह्यूमर बट माय पेरेंट्स हैव ऑलवेज बीन सपोर्टिव they didn't understand my job for the longest. Recently, they have been to some of my sets, so they understood because they saw the before and after, and they understood actually what is the things we do. तो अब लोगों को समझ आ गया तो क्रिटिसिज्म तो मैंने इतना फेस नहीं किया है in that way my friends and families have been really supportive and I'm grateful for that. How did I end up here? I also don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I am not a movie buff. मतलब मेरे के अंदर ऐसा कुछ था ही नहीं कि मैंने बहुत मूवीज देखी है या मैं इतनी डफर थी कि मैं बता नहीं सकती. मुझे बुलाया गया था कि संतोष सिवन सर के साथ एक शूट हो. मैं नहीं जानती थी संतोष सिवन सर कौन है. और there's this ad in which he has shot मतलब हम एक आयुर्वेद का ऐसा ऐड कर रहे थे तो सर ने बोला कि शोना को तैयार करके बुलाओ वो भी एक जूनियर होगी और वो भी शूट करेगी. लेकिन मैं नहीं कर रही ठंड है मैं नहीं पहनूंगी वो पुराने टाइप की साड़ी और वो हेयर बन. सो देन एवरीबडी केम टू मी आर यू मैड he wants to shoot you and you are saying no people die for it. I was like अच्छा मैं तैयार होके आती हूँ and then I became the thumbnail of that ad. So my knowledge in films is very limited. It's just मतलब अभी ऐसे बढ़ रही है जब मैं आप लोगों से बात करती हूँ या इसमें काम करती रहती हूँ. I never had interest in it. I had one of my uncles and I'm from a very small town called Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh. So in there we used to own a theatre. मतलब my Pupaji used to own a theatre. And so there is the first time when he used to privately host स्क्रीनिंग्स फॉर अस. तो मैंने टाइटैनिक हैरी पॉटर पायरेट्स ऑफ कैरेबियन वहां देखी है जब फुपाजी उसकी रील लेकर आते थे और प्रोजेक्टर पे रन करते थे. ही वाज अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर.
आपने हैरी पॉटर और रहस्यमय तहखाना देखी है?
यस. तो मतलब सबके ना तो yeah so I was he was in this field and he used to make mama and everybody meet कि आज तुझे माधुरी से मिलवाते हैं चलो आओ. ऋतिक रोशन was like a little kid in his lap. So I've grown up to those stories and I was fond of those stories. And then I got into NIFT. Then NIFT mein when the internship period came in, so I did fashion communication in which we learned about colors and aesthetics and visual merchandising and everything. So I was like, okay, when the internship period came in, I was like, let's do something which is not uh, in our syllabus. और मैं बैक स्टेज से हमेशा फैसिनेटेड थी. और निफ्ट मैं बस दाखिले से पहले आई लॉस्ट माई फूफा जी। तो पता नहीं कहीं था कि मुझे बैक स्टेज देखना है। फिर हमारा टॉकीज भी इतना अच्छा नहीं कर रहा था। और वो बचपन की मेमोरीज है कि आपने बेड के टिकट फाड़ के दिए हैं 5 रुपए के, 2 रुपए के, आपने समोसे बांटे हैं, दैट कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स एंड वो थिएटर अभी तक था हमारे पास कोविड में। राइट नाउ वी जस्ट गॉट ब्रोक, मतलब उसको भी टूटवा है। और वो बचपन के फोटोज है तो उसमें वो पुरान, यू कैन नॉट इमेजिन किस तरीके से प्रमोशंस होते थे। ओके, पूरा बैंड बाजा बराते, बड़े बड़े फ्लेक्स, एवरीबडी इज डांसिंग, और ठेलों के ऊपर लाइट्स लगी हुई है और बहुत सारे लोग निकल रहे हैं रैली लेके, और घरों घरों और कॉलोनीज के बाहर। So I've seen that photographs, I've seen the projector, so I was just very fond of it. And ऐसे बोलते थे पर्दे के पीछे भूत है, तू मत जाना। तो मतलब वो स्टोरीज के साथ आई ग्रोन अप। ओके, तो मैं बैक स्टेज से बहुत फैसिनेटेड रहती थी हमेशा। तो लकीली आई गॉट इनटू इक्विनॉक्स with Mr. Ram Madhwani, and Anna, it was the production designer. She's an in-house production designer. Beautiful lady. And I got in there and I started my internship with them. So when I was doing internship, I did everything. I did production, helped in costumes, making decks, did little like DA वाला काम की help करने के लिए, art, like everything. क्योंकि आप intern हो, आप photocopies भी कर रहे होते हो, आप भाग भी रहे होते हो, आप सब कर रहे होते हो. Most fun period of my time, of my life, and बहुत मजा आया. तो आप मीटिंग में बैठ रहे हो, आप समझ रहे हो, थोड़े स्टार्स आ रहे हैं, तो ऐसे मतलब मस्त माहौल है, आपको लगता है कि आप इंडस्ट्री में आ चुके हो. फिर इंटर्नशिप हो गया और मैं बस जा ही रही थी एंड आई गॉट अ कॉल फ्रॉम देम कि डू यू वांट टू जॉइन इन हाउस. और तब आर्या की तैयारी भी चल रही थी, तो मैंने कहा इससे अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी क्या हो सकती है मेरे लिए. एंड दे आर वन ऑफ द लीडिंग प्रोडक्शन हाउसेज एंड रियली 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 अमेजिंग पीपल. लाइक they take care of you as your family member. Like you will never feel so much of love, but also they are the best people to learn from because their discipline and everything is tuck 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 tuck. Like अगर 10 बजे चाहिए तो आपको 10 बजे देना ही है. 10:05 पे आपके पास फोन या नोटिफिकेशन आ जाएगा कि ये क्यों नहीं आया है. तो वो डिसिप्लिन आपको इनसे मिलता है. So I ended up there. Then they offered me a job. I came back. I started, and since then I'm here only. I have no memory of how I got my first. Matlab, there's a very dear friend called Pallavi. She was DA when I was in Equinox and I was interning, and now she has also become an independent director. So when she was shooting her first commercial, she called me, "Ki, why don't you do this as an independent PD?" And I did that. And then again, after that, I assisted, and then Give Me Love happened. Then again, I assisted, and then since this year only, since January, I started getting ads and ads and ads and ads and music videos, and this happened and that happened. And बस होता चला गया. उसके बाद से ऐसा लगा ही नहीं, मतलब ऐसा चांस ही नहीं आया कि बीच में खाली हो कि आप किसी को असिस्ट कर लो. क्योंकि कुछ ऐसा तो है नहीं, आप असिस्ट कर दो तो और आप 4 चीजें सीखते हो, किसी और के एस्थेटिक के बारे में, किसी और की थिंकिंग के बारे में, किसी और के जुगाड़ के बारे में. So I think that's how I wanted to do it. Like it just meant to happen and it happened. Because मैं जब बैठती थी ना उस ऑफिस रूम में, सो दिस इज द ऑफिस रूम इन विच एवरीबडी सिट्स एट वर्क. सब लोग इधर उधर की बातें कर रहे हैं, ये फिल्म रिलीज हुई है. मतलब अभी की फिल्म के बारे में तो मुझे फिर भी पता है, बट पहले की फिल्म के बारे में तो जीरो बट्टा सन्नाटा. बट एवरीबडी वाज वेरी काइंड और सब सिखाते. वी आर स्टिल वेरी गुड फ्रेंड्स. एवरीबडी नोज दिस अबाउट मी, सो दे विल कम टेल मी कि अच्छा हम इसके बारे में बात करें, इसकी ये फिल्म है, देख लेना. सो that's how my also new learning and new college life began. So that's how I got into this profession, I think. बट जुगाड़ से ज्यादा एक बहुत बढ़िया जुगाड़ होता है. जब आप कील नहीं ठोक सकते हो ना फ्रेम टांगने के लिए, तो आप फोक लेते हो और आप फोक को टेप से चिपकाते हो और फिर उसके ऊपर आप फ्रेम्स टांगते हो. आई वाज रैंडम ट्रिविया, बट या.
ठीक है. I have noted that down. I'll someday. Yes. No, that's great. But nee, also the thing that you told about how everyone is so open and accommodating. Everyone wants you to learn with them and not exclude you just because you don't know something. So that also reflects a certain kind of curiosity that you have कि नहीं मुझे करना है, because
I mean, I think you should just be acceptable about it. You cannot fake it till long, is what I feel. And I'm not that kind of person. It just comes on my face. I'm not kidding. First ever set with Equinox when I was an intern. तो कॉल टाइम था सुबह 6 बजे का, ठीक है, तो 5 बजे पहुंचना होता है। तो मुझे सबने बोला 5 बजे पहुंच जाना। तो मैंने कहा 5 बजे कौन जाते हैं, 5 बजे बुलाया तो 6:30 बजे तक जाना होगा सेट पे। आई आई वाज माई ओन ड्रीम लैंड, फर्स्ट सेट एवर। तो मैं पहुंची हूँ 6:30 7 बजे, और एना जो गुस्सा हुई है मेरे ऊपर, शी डिडंट लेट मी एंटर द सेट एंड आई एम सिटिंग पीछे एंड आई एम क्राइंग एंड माय आर्ट डायरेक्टर इज मेकिंग मी अंडरस्टैंड कि इट्स ओके होता है, ये फिल्म है, यहाँ पर ऐसा ही डिसिप्लिन होता है, अगर 6 बजे तो 5 बजे सब आ जाएंगे। सो आई वाज लाइक, मैं उस, मतलब पता ही नहीं है ना, आप पहली बार आए हो, आप और मेरे साथ ऐसे 2 3 और मेरे फ्रेंड्स है, दे डोंट नो हाउ टू यूज वॉकी, तो उनको किसी और चैनल पे बात करना है, तो उनको बोला है कि 3 चैनल पे जाके प्रोडक्शन, इज लाइक रोहिणी शिफ्टिंग टू 3, उसने 3 एक्चुअली करा नहीं है वॉकी पे, वो ऐसे बोल रही है कि रोहिणी has shifted to 3, come in. And these are the memories we have, and now we sit and drink and joke about it. So yeah, it's too good. I love those initial days of sets when we didn't know anything and we were just figuring out everything. And people were making fun of us, but they were also like, they were having this little laugh, but they were also teaching us everything. So yeah.
Right. The last question that I have for you is that what has been the biggest learning for you from your filmmaking experiences?
And you don't give up. Nothing stops you. If you have to get the job done, if you have the vision, if you want to make it, if it's a dream, it will happen and it's going to look beautiful. Nothing should stop you. Nothing. Like, maybe it's a bad day, but like, वो आना ही नहीं चाहिए, मतलब आपको ऑलरेडी इतना ग्रेटफुल और ब्लेस्ड फील करना चाहिए कि आप एक सेट पे खड़े हो और आप ये सब अपनी आंखों के सामने होते हुए दिख रहे हो, इतनी सारी लाइफ, for everybody, not just for my department. I mean, I'm just really grateful, and it teaches you a lot of personal lessons also, patience, because you are dealing with 50, 60 people in a week. In long format, so you're dealing with more people. Everybody has different temperaments. आप एक जने के साथ 100 दिन काम कर रहे हो जब आप एक फिल्म पे हो। अब उस 100 दिनों में जरूरी नहीं है कि वो बंदा रोज उठ के आपको स्माइल से ग्रीट करे, वो करेगा 95 डेज वो करेगा, बट हो सकता है उसका एक दिन बैड डे। सो हाउ आर यू, बिकॉज दैट बिकम्स योर फैमिली, राइट? सो पेशेंस की, सबका टेम्परमेंट लेवल अलग है, सबकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल अलग है, सबका प्रोसेस करने का तरीका अलग है, people management, communication skills. But you don't give up on anything. You don't, like, equality comes on set. I mean, I'm very serious about it. Like, we are the most uh, आई मीन ये होना ही हमारे सेट पे कि हम जब एक कास्टिंग देख रहे हो तो हम बोलेंगे कि दिस इज नॉट द प्रिटी फेस एंड ऑल, बट दैट्स नेसेसरी फॉर द फिल्म. वी आर नॉट, like, we are not telling it because she's ugly or she's pretty or there's the societal norms which we have created, but there is certain things which needs to get delivered. But when you come on set from a spot, you cannot function without a spot. To the director, if everybody, and they all work as a clockwork, and then only the work gets done. एक भी जना या एक भी डिपार्टमेंट अगर मिसिंग है या एक भी डिपार्टमेंट का उस दिन अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, तो सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स इक्वली फकअप होंगे. लाइक, सो मेनी टाइम्स आई हैव सीन, मतलब वो बोलते हैं ना कि generosity, kindness, calmness. I learned everything from set, and I'm not even kidding. I have, imagine I didn't know Santosh Sivan sir. I was sitting on his जो chair है उसकी arm rest पे बैठी हुई थी मैं एकदम और बड़ी WhatsApp. But I never felt that I was sitting with such a big DOP and director, legendary, and he never made me feel that. So many times Baman sir has come in office, he will come, greet. So in the end, we are all human beings. We are doing it, and we cannot do it without each other. So it tells you the importance of humans in your life, of different skills in your life. And until unless everybody doesn't come together, it cannot happen. So patience, ki okay, that person is not well, that person needs more time. It's not a good day, it's a bad day. Everything has to be considered. You cannot कि काम है और निकलो. बहुत सारी चीजें आपको सोचनी पड़ती है, which is not related to your film at all, but which is related to human emotions and the day which we are going through. Somebody must have lost their cat, somebody's not well, somebody's parents are ill. You don't know what is going on. Everybody's life is filled with so many traumas and troubles on individual levels which we don't show. एंड दैट्स ऑल्सो वन स्पेस कि आप वहाँ खड़े हो जाते हो और आपका पूरा दिन निकल जाता है और ये सारी चीजें कुछ टाइम के लिए पीछे छूट जाती है. यू हैव फन एंड यू कम बैक. सो या, you should never stop in life, in work. It will happen one day, and I'm very sure about it that it will happen. If it is meant to happen, it's going to happen. Nothing can stop it. Nothing. आप हो, आप ना हो, होना तो वो काम है ही. तो ये तो फीलिंग ये आपको बहुत जल्दी सिखा देती है ये इंडस्ट्री कि आप कोई इतने बड़े दिग्गज नहीं हो. आप सेट पे खड़े होगे या नहीं होगे, काम तो नहीं रुकने वाला है. Like if there is a star who is not well, maybe you will shoot something else which doesn't involve the star, or maybe you will do something else. But work never stops for anybody, and that's a very big lesson that you are irreplaceable. तो आपका ईगो कभी इतना ऊपर चढ़ना ही नहीं चाहिए कि आपको. लखनऊ ने मुझे ये बात सिखाई है कि सब पालो बट गलत फहमी ना पालो. तो ये हमारी इंडस्ट्री में बहुत जल्दी सिखा देती है कि यू नेवर नो कि कल क्या होने वाला है. तो आज है, आज को जियो. बी ब्लेस्ड, फील ब्लेस्ड अबाउट इट, बी ग्रेटफुल अबाउट इट. And every human emotion one can go through, he or she goes through on a film set, especially on a long format. But even if you're on ads or music videos or whatever, I think you go through everything because you are handling babies sometimes, right? Babies come with their mother, and there are sensitive scenes in which we have to make the baby cry, and we literally have to pinch them or slap them, and then you understand कि किसको कितना गिल्ट हो रहा है. मतलब आप हर एक इमोशन से निकलते हो यार. मतलब बहुत ही, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, दैट इज अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल थिंग. It teaches you a lot, and it teaches you almost everything about a human emotion in life, because you have no idea कि वो बंदा क्या करके आज यहाँ खड़ा है और वो उसने क्या सफर किया है, उसकी रात कैसी गुजरी है, उसका कल कैसा गुजरा है या कैसा रहा है. So it's in every profession, I'm sure. Collaboration, and it's in every profession, I'm sure. But in our profession, it is थोड़ा ज्यादा. आप ऑफिस में थोड़ी सिक लीव ले सकते हो, या आप एक हफ्ते नहीं हो तो कोई और शायद आपको रिप्लेस करके काम संभाल सकता है. यहाँ पे थोड़ा इंटरडिपेंडेंसी ज्यादा है और पीरियड टाइम भी बहुत कम होता है. आप एक एड के लिए 7 दिन के लिए जुड़ते हो और फिर आपको पता नहीं है कि आप वापस कब जुड़ोगे, बट वो 7 दिन के लिए आप एक फैमिली हो. तो उन 7 दिनों में जो भी हो रहा है, one has to deal with it. So